Fight, fight, fight!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to No Filter Gen Z. Today we're going to be talking about tariffs and Trump's policies on tariffs, what we might think as Gen Z. You know, we might have different opinions than other generations, but it's going to be a good conversation. Welcome back, Lydia and Elijah. It's going to be a great show today, guys. Welcome to it.
Hi, how's it going? I'm excited. This is one of those things tariffs in general, I have some knowledge on, but I think ever since Trump came into office, I think I've kind of educated myself a little bit more and become
Yeah.
more knowledgeable, but we're still learning
And
on
this
this
is
one.
an issue that even Republicans will disagree on and Democrats will disagree on. So it's
Yeah.
like it's not a party policy. It's something that people just have different takes on it and different methods and if it's good or not. So Elijah, we'll start with you. There's been a lot of chaos lately, especially with Trump's tariffs and what he thinks is the right moves and stuff. But what's your take on tariffs and what do you think is beneficial to everybody? You're in the agriculture kind of realm. You know stuff about farming and all that. So what's your perspective on all this?
I think the way he's going about it is great. Not only for tariffs in general, but like you said, on the agricultural side, it's kind of forcing America to step up in farming,
Mm,
especially in California and New York and a lot of those other more farming areas. Believe it or not, those are like some of the higher areas of condensed farming. Um, but I have a theory on what he's trying to do here with his tariffs. I have a source here on some paper I'll read to you. It's from whitehouse.gov if you want to check it out. Um, it's called Addressing an Emergency Situation, and it says the extraordinary threat posed by illegal aliens and drugs, including deadly fentanyl, constitutes a national emergency under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. And the first point it mentions is until the crisis is alleviated, President Donald J. Trump is implementing a 25% additional tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico and a 10% additional tariff on imports from China. Energy resources from Canada will have a lower 10% tariff. And so, from what I see from there, I'm seeing that he's trying to eliminate two birds with one stone,
mm,
lowering tariffs that other countries have on us, imposing on us, like China and Canada and Mexico, who have quite high tariffs on most of our goods. Like,
yeah.
think about how many American made goods are in China compared to China made goods in America. But he's also trying to get rid of the fentanyl and drug epidemic in doing so. By putting higher tariffs, he's forcing them to either A, stop investing in drugs and sending them here, or suffer the consequences. So, yeah.
Yeah, and so he's using that national emergency thing so to have the authority to do that, right? Like, is that why? Because a lot of people will say this is a Congress issue where you can't taxes are a congressional issue, but
Yeah.
under a national emergency, the president would have more powers in something like this to do tariffs.
Yeah.
And what you said about other countries tariffing us, no one has a problem with that. But
Hmm.
when America does it, people lose their minds. It's kind of double sided because we should be getting what we deserve on that. But a lot of
Yeah.
people will argue that it's going to hurt us in the short term. That when we put the tariffs on other countries, that everyone's going to have to raise their prices because of it. So either one of you, I don't know if you guys have a take on that, and if you've heard anybody talk about them personally thinking that this will be like a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, I have actually had a few people ask me about like how kind of what I thought, and I really think it is a long ball game
Mm,
ultimately because right now because stock markets, and companies won't really invest as much in things when if they see that things like this are happening, sometimes they won't invest in things and therefore the stock market, has major issues. But then I was seeing, over the past couple weeks, how many big major companies are investing in the US.
billions of dollars too.
Yeah, it's like Apple, Hyundai, like Johnson and Johnson. There were a few there that I saw. I mean, they were investing a lot. And so I think when we see that, like there are a lot of companies, like major companies, that they know Trump, they know
Yeah.
how he works, and they know that this will, in the long run, this will surely benefit us. And also with all the other countries, when you look at like how many various countries have tariffs on us. I saw a few weeks ago he was holding up like a poster board of
Yes.
the
Yes.
tariff percentages, like, and it was like, I mean, it was multiple like poster boards he was holding up and like showing, and just how we're evening the playing field. That's really what that is. And we're showing them like, hey, we're not letting you do this to us, without us doing it to you to an extent.
Yeah,
So
and he didn't only include with those tariffs, they were pretty high from other countries because he's also including deficits and other things that contribute to it.
yeah.
But what we have to know about Trump, and look, he did some tariffs in the first term, and look how the economy was great. But what we have to know about Trump is he is an ultimate negotiator. He knows how to negotiate with other countries so that we get what benefits us. And yeah, it hasn't been super fair from every country going at the United States, especially after Biden came in and kind of messed up the world sphere a little bit by delegating different powers and kind of putting America last and just saying, oh, other countries, we're stronger together. Well, sometimes we are, and sometimes we're getting scammed and screwed off because of some of these deficits and tariffs. But Trump, this is what he does best. He says, no, we're going to get what we need and what we deserve as America. We're the greatest country in the world, the greatest economy. And just by holding up that chart with different tariffs, I heard over 50 world leaders from different countries came to the table and want to negotiate zero tariff deals, which is a great thing. So regardless if you think it's a good idea or not from like a long perspective, because it could hurt for a while, but if Trump's idea is to negotiate and get the other countries to bring tariffs down, it's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah, hold on. Lydia, you did talk about the stock market, which it is fear. Stock market is all about how people feel. And when something big comes up like Liberation Day, like Trump mentioned, people freak out a little bit because they don't know what to expect. But I think since he is a good negotiator and people like investors with these big companies understand Trump, like what you said, that's why they're bringing money in. But Elijah, do you think that the stock market crashing and then going back up, do you think that it's at all, do you think that's going to keep happening, or do you think that's with the big news, or what's going on?
Yeah, I think it's going to keep happening. I mean, no matter who the president is, Trump only has 4 years to enact. And after that, the stock market, I mean, crashes all the time.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much inevitable. History repeats itself. I've already said this before. I think he is playing a long game, and I don't think it's probably gonna crash soon, but it's gonna spike like immediately after for quite a while as well.
And that's what we saw a few weeks ago. We saw it go from going pretty low and then boom, like the countries come to the table. Trump puts a pause on the tariffs because he sees that these countries are going to negotiate. He says a 90-day pause, and the stock market went crazy up, like one of the biggest highs ever in the country. So yeah, it's a game of people's feelings, if they feel secure or not with their money. Because when people don't feel secure with their money, they're going to take it out. And that makes it look like the stock market's just crashing, but it's really just uncertainty. But China in particular is one country where we have to like look at it differently. And Trump put like, what is it, 125% tariff or something on China. Do you guys think Trump should continue being hard on China, or what do you think, Lydia?
Honestly, why not? Like I think that because China, I remember in the minute, like I think it was either when Trump had first gotten elected or it was like the day after inauguration day, or was it like a week before, but like China was like, we want nothing but peace with America. I mean, that is like what the leader of China literally said on the phone to Trump.
Yeah.
So but then it's like almost like we're almost seeing a two-faced a little bit, because it's like now he's in power, but now he's kind of using his diplomatic powers, and he's kind of being like, okay, like this is how it's going to be, kind of thing. I will say, obviously, like there is some sense of caution he should have with China, just because of, as far as manufacturing and things like that we have ties with them. But obviously I know that we're trying to, a lot of things that we make in China, we're trying to make more so over here, hence the whole reason why this is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that I think that honestly pressure is a good thing because with our president in the past 4 years, it was nothing but weakness.
Yeah.
So I think the pressure is good, and this is something that they need to get used to. It's kind of growing pains, so to speak. And
Yeah.
I
And economic pressure is better than fighting a war. You know, Trump is good at negotiating and having economic pressures to make China, switch on a few things. And also, I think the strategy has to be, if we're going to go that hard on China, like if he raises it again on China, we have to make sure that these other countries don't join with China. We have to make sure that we're treating them fairly with like the ones that we do want to negotiate with, because then because we know that America is the greatest economy in the world, but China is really big, and they cheat, and they've done a lot of things differently than we do. They've cheated America off a lot. So it's good that we keep the pressure high, but also we got to make sure that we keep good relations with all the other countries so that America's not just backed up into a corner against everybody. So Elijah, what do you think about China?
I think that they've been taking advantage of us for so long. And so when he said he wanted peace, I think he meant keep things the way they are.
Mm.
yeah,
Well,
And
because
when
Biden was
Trump
super
said
soft on
no,
China.
yeah, yeah. And so when Trump's, raising tariffs, starting to bring more commerce into America, they see that as a threat to how much money they're making, and they don't like it. They don't
Mm.
like it at all. And so they're going to find out the really, really hard way that America is still strong, much stronger than they'll ever be. And that goes for military, economically, um, and even religiously, and having God on our side. I mean,
Yeah.
they're construing the Bible and all.
I
See
mean,
how
yeah, in
that's going to
China,
go.
they have to be really careful with their religious beliefs. It's not really free like it is here. So there's a lot of underground stuff going on where they got to be careful in what they say and how they believe
Yep.
things, because they will be persecuted. So we're lucky to live here and have that freedom and not have to be
Yeah.
worried about that all the time like they do. So I mean, if China does need to turn around on a lot of issues, but the best thing to do is keep the pressure and make sure that America stays first, because that's what we saw from the difference in these administrations. Is Trump has really, his main goal is put America first again and keep it first with military, economy, everything is best of the best. We are the best, and that's for a lot of reasons. And Trump is not trying to just scam these countries like they do to us. He's just trying to make it fair again. Hence the reciprocal tariffs,
yeah.
just to make it on an even playing field again, like you mentioned, Lydia. So, do you think that he's doing a good job so far, or what do you think about Trump's tariffs? Because it has been a lot of news. It's been a lot of up and downs and people freaking out and whatever. But how do you think he's done so far?
I mean, I think he's done a great job. I had just heard a comment from Thomas Sowell, and he was talking about basically because he's very renowned in this realm, but he talks a lot about just how he does have concerns, and he is a little skeptical as far as this could end in like a trade war
Mm,
type of thing. So even though we may not have an actual like physical combat war, as far as like trade tariff war, like this could cause something like that.
yeah,
And so, I understand his caution, but I also, on the same token, I really do think that Trump is handling this very well, because this is a long time coming kind of thing. After our economy has been bulldozed for so long, I think this is definitely an improvement. If anything is an improvement. But if
yeah,
you have a businessman for a president, it's going to be improving more than ever, I would
yeah.
say.
And the reason why Trump is so good with this kind of stuff is because he's not afraid to change something if it's not working.
Yeah,
For a long time, if we just left it how it is before he did any of this, it wouldn't last as very long. We wouldn't be the best of the best. But what he does is, if he tries something like these tariffs and he decides something isn't working, he's not gonna just leave it. Like a lot of politicians stay at their ground because they think that they have to keep doing what their people want them to so they can get reelected and stuff. But the good thing about Trump now, especially, is that this is his second term. So he can really do whatever he wants. He can really focus on the actual issues. But also, if something's not working, he's going to change it up. He doesn't have to keep going at it like that. I think the main problem with the tariffs is that there's a lot of mixed messaging going on with, is it going to be a long-term thing? Is it going to be a short-term thing? What are we doing? And a little bit of that in my opinion, comes from we can't just let all the countries know what we're gonna do. You know, like you have to keep the negotiation tactics at the top so that they don't just know what we're trying to do. Because if he's trying to negotiate and he says that, then of course it's gonna be like the countries are gonna know that that's what he's doing. But at the same time, we have to keep staying strong like that. So Elijah, do you think that the messaging, because Peter Navarro is another guy that's in the government, but his messaging compared to Trump's, they're not really saying the same exact thing. So do you think that can cause some confusion?
Oh, definitely. Some people listen to Trump, some people listen to other sources, and so there's going to be a lot of mixed opinions. There's going to be a lot of mixed arguments, and people saying, "Well, no, this is the truth," or "No, this is the truth." And in reality, there is only one truth, and you just got to find it. It could be a little difficult sometimes though with the different media. Everyone has their own opinion, and they only say their opinions and not the facts, and so.
Yeah. And I guess with tariffs, it's a little hard because so many factors play in, and every country's different. You know, we're not doing the same thing to every country because some countries are doing good with us. And Israel actually they were the first ones to come out and say, we're going to do 0% tariffs on America. So I think the move there should have been, let's match that and have zero tariffs at all with Israel. And Trump, being the guy he is, was like, yeah, we give Israel a lot of money and we do a lot of good things for them. So it is fair. So.
No, I definitely appreciate. I saw that comment too when he was talking about Netanyahu, and he was like, you know what, like we're great allies with Israel, but when it comes down to it, like, we are two different countries, and we are at the end of the day trying to support each other, our own individual countries first and foremost.
Yeah.
So I like that there was kind of that balance there where he recognized like how much he gets along with Benjamin Netanyahu, but it's still like, at the end of the day, you are another country. And, we're going to create that equal playing field. And I'm so glad that Israel cooperated that way.
Yeah, and we finally have a president that is not afraid to do these kind of things. Like he realizes that America is the country it is, and he's like, okay, we got to keep it at the top, and that might involve some hard things like tariffs. And so he knows he's not afraid. A lot of politicians, and I mean, because Biden was the last one, that's who I'm going to compare him to, but Biden would never, because we looked weak on the world stage when Biden was the president. Right now, we look like we're in control again. We're in command because Trump is delivering on what he said he would do. And if people are mad about him doing tariffs, I'm sorry, but we did vote for that. He mentioned that on his campaign a lot, that he was going to do some tariffs to equal the playing field and make sure America is not getting scammed forever. So people can argue about it, but we got what we voted for. And he's delivered on a lot of different fronts.
Yeah, and I don't know why some people are still surprised that like he actually went through with it when he's pretty much fulfilled every single promise so far, and
he
it's
has
only into his term. So for those, they'll need to adjust these next 4 years, and the fact that like this is he campaigned on this stuff for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. It is what it is, and people can either get on board with it or be mad. But he's the president, and he's gonna do what he needs to do for the country for the next few years. So, Elijah, what's the next step with tariffs? Do you think he's gonna because there was a 90-day pause? Do you think he's going to reenact some of these, or do you think it's going to change a little bit after that pause?
It's kind of hard to say. I think he's gonna impose a little bit more. He's not gonna probably go as heavy, but I think he's going to impose still, because countries need to realize that we are not someone to just take lightly, to be messed with.
Yeah.
We had a weak government before, but we are much, much, much stronger now. And you're going to see that, America is strong in all fronts. I mean, we're bringing so many companies into America. Apple's already promised to take $500,000 out of China and reinvest that into America and into our economy. And so we are not someone to be messed with. We are someone that people can rely on. And countries are going to find that out, and they're going to want to be a part of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to benefit from this, not just America, I think.
Yeah. And then a big topic is the manufacturing, because we want to make it made in America again, but that will take some time to build these manufacturing plants and factories and stuff. So I think that's where people are saying, well, no, while they're doing that, prices are going to have to go up and stuff because it's taking more money. It's taking a while to get things changed. So like with cars, while before it can be like that, these companies, if they're still exporting things to different countries, the tariffs will make it higher, which will make the cars more expensive. So Lydia, what's your just thought on that and what people think about the downside, I guess?
Well, I mean, I can definitely understand people's frustrations. I mean, granted, I still live at home, so a lot of my expenses that I would normally pay if I lived on my own, I would not,
Hmm.
I would be worrying about those kinds of things. So like, and also like the housing market too.
Yeah.
And so I can understand why people are frustrated, and I can understand all of this. And then I've been seeing stuff with groceries too, and like, and the whole thing was like the price of eggs, like, oh, price of eggs, oh, has it gone down yet? But like, it actually did. It
And
actually did.
actually, everything is down a lot more than when he came in. So
Yeah, so there's a win there, but also no one talks about that. But yeah, but I definitely, at the end of the day, I do understand where people are coming from, but I would remind them to, like, as I said earlier, like, it is a long ball game, and so like it will take time to adjust, but when it does, once everything with the manufacturing kind of readjusts and we start making more things here and then we start building up profit that way, I think then we'll see better results and lower prices on things like that, such as cars.
yeah, Trump mentioned like an example of when you have like it's a healing process after you have surgery. The country just had surgery, and so it has to heal, and so it'll be a little painful, but it'll benefit a lot once it does get moved and everything starts to be made here. And he's not actually arguing that we should just like close off any trade. He's just making sure that we start to build here more because we've lost that the last 50 years. Like we don't have as much being made in America as it used to be. If you look everywhere, it's all made in China and made in different places. So it's I see both sides. I do see why people would be frustrated, but like you mentioned, the economy actually is doing better. Inflation is down the most it's been in 3 years because Trump started to do his thing. Like, if anyone's scared about his whole thing, I say look at his first term and look how it ended up. He figured it out. He knew what he was doing. And so when you have a track record like that, it gains my trust to say, all right, I'll let Trump do his thing for a while. Let's give him some time to make this adjustment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think this is Elijah? Do you think this is something that is going to keep going after Trump, or do you think this is like only now we got to make it happen because Trump's in office?
It's
I feel
definitely
like
hard to say.
I feel like if we elected JD Vance or something, I think he would continue stuff like that. But we just never know what's going to happen in the next elections.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely depends on who's next. Especially if it's like someone in the party who may not be as knowledgeable on tariffs. Trump might be like, all right, we'll end it here so that you don't have to deal with that and potentially mess up. If not, then it might still go. I mean, who knows? And it's also dependent on the other countries as well. Like if they're going to keep raising and raising and raising, we're probably not going to back down. And
Yeah.
we should. So,
Yeah, and Trump that's why I like what he's doing, because it is leading the way even for the future to say that we don't just let other countries walk all over us.
yeah.
Even if it's not tariffs, with anything. And something that that I heard them talk about lately is we during COVID didn't have enough production in the United States to have masks. We had to buy masks from other countries. And so that was a problem because we're not manufacturing and making things here, and we're relying on other countries, and that in itself is a national emergency because when things get bad, we have to rely on other countries. No, we need
yeah.
to make sure we have it here to protect ourselves, really.
Yeah, that's not a good place to be in. And the fact that the masks for this particular instance as far as COVID, like they weren't even effective, like everyone was saying.
I know.
And so
We were
for us,
lied to, really.
yeah, no, the whole thing was a lie. But yeah, so it's just it's sad in its own way that like we had to reach for things like that when in reality it wasn't working the way it should. But I'm definitely excited to see more things made in America. I remember when I was younger, like I would see stuff that like said made in China, like, and I would see it like obviously all the time, like we still do, and
Yeah.
it was puzzling for me. I remember I was like, why does everything say this? And for me, I guess at that age to ask why
Yeah.
everything is made in China, I think that definitely speaks volumes to kind of where we are as a where we're trying to get to, of course. But I think that's a little comical,
Yeah,
honestly.
what American would not want to see more made in America? I feel like that's a great thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm definitely excited to see.
I don't know if I ever have. I haven't seen many things say that really. So
Very few.
really, most things don't. It's either like China or something different. But
Yeah.
I can't wait for the time when, if this really does work, if Trump pulls it off and we start seeing things say made in America, it's gonna feel good. It's like, wow, this is our country. We're not just pushing stuff out. We're building it here. You know, that's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, it does make your American pride and your patriotism fill up a little more.
Yeah, he already changed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, so we can expect anything at that point. I didn't expect that, so
Yeah, I can't get more patriotic than that, honestly.
yeah. Last closing few minutes here, Elijah. Do you think that we're going to go into a recession or not? Because that's on everyone's mind is Trump's going to bring us into a recession because of these tariffs. And it might have felt like that because of the stock market and stuff. But what's your personal opinion? Do you think we're going to go there, or is it going to be okay?
I think we're going to be okay, to be honest. I'm not super worried. There's always jobs here. People can, I mean, especially here in Florida, everyone's looking for employees. I mean, the market's flourishing, tourism's up. So I don't think we really got anything to worry about, at least here. Maybe some of the, more democratic states probably got to worry a little bit, but outside of that, we're doing good.
Yeah,
We're doing just
and
fine.
something that has to pass though in Congress is the Trump tax cuts, because pretty soon here they need to get extended, or else we might go into something like that. Because if people have to pay more on their taxes, like, it's going to be really tough. It's because we already do pay so much, and we need to extend those tax cuts.
Yeah. Oh,
Li-
definitely.
Lydia, what's your thoughts on a recession or not?
Yeah, honestly, I think at the end of the day, I think we will be okay. And I definitely second what Elijah said just about job opportunities. I mean, Trump is known for jobs like in, amplifying the job market in
Yeah.
general. So I feel like things like that we won't have to be concerned for. But I definitely understand the tax cut thing and how, that will need to happen because, whenever you start working a job, as I have in these past several years, like, this is still newer for me, and just to see like how much is actually taken out
Yeah.
for tax purposes. And so, it means a little more to me now that I'm older.
Yeah.
Because when you're younger, oh, taxes, yeah, whatever, I don't have to worry about those for a while,
Uh-huh.
It's like, that's kind of upon us all here. So, yeah, but I definitely, at the end of the day, I don't think we have a recession to worry about.
Yeah. Also, if we're bringing stuff back into America to be made here, that's going to make a lot more jobs for Americans, for all these
Yeah.
factories and all these places where we need American workers. Well, that's going to be great with more production here. So I don't think we're going to go there. And I think that Trump, I think we just got to trust him because he's done this before, and a little bit of trust, give him time, see what happens. But that's our Gen Z perspective on tariffs. We might be right on some things, we might be wrong on some things. We'll see how it plays out here in the next few weeks and years, and see how it goes with this presidency. But yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch. So thank you guys for coming to this episode, and click that subscribe button. Let us know your thoughts on tariffs. And if you're a Republican, Democrat, what do you think about tariffs? Because everyone has a different take on this stuff. So thank you guys for watching. Lydia, Elijah, thanks for coming. We'll see you guys next time. Peace. That looked like the Nazi thing too much. My bad.
I don't think I didn't see it right away, so I don't.
They'll say that no matter what.